Let's put them up full mass. Hell of a thing. We have the Lee County, Alabama Democratic Party chair. So recently, we got a letter, okay? This letter is from Jamie Lowe. Jamie Lowe, Lee County, Alabama Democratic Party chair. The letter was shared with us and also the context. So on January 10th, this is a hell of a letter. On January 10th, a letter responds from Dr. Joe Reed, who's the current vice chair of Minority Affairs at the Alabama Democratic Party, and since 1979, chair of the Alabama Democratic Conference. The letter goes to a Miss Elena Mounts, who is the ballot access director for the Biden-Harris 2024 campaign, all right? These are the figures involved. Dr. Reed's letter says, quote, "Dear Miss Mounts, your letter to Randy Kelly, chair of the Alabama Democratic Party, has been reviewed by other party leaders in Alabama, including me. While Chairman Kelly will no doubt speak for himself and the party, I speak for the Alabama Democratic Conference, the 63-year-old Black Democratic Caucus of Alabama. Quote, I wish to impress upon you that your attempt to eliminate 74 dedicated, loyal, and loving Democratic delegates pledged to the Biden-Harris nomination at the Democratic National Convention is totally unacceptable, and in all due respect, will be resisted in every possible way, including going into federal court. So that, according to the letter, is from Dr. Joe Reed. Another quote, I will put it another way. The Democratic Party of Alabama is majority Black, 66%. Most of the delegates to the Democratic National Convention will be elected by Blacks. By handpicking personal delegates, you prevent Blacks and others from voting for the popular elected Democratic delegates to reduce Black voter influence on Election Day. For the record, our delegate and affirmative action plan approved by the State Democratic Executive Committee calls for 39 Blacks. You appointed only 19. But you appointed 15 whites. You reduced the youth and other underrepresented groups considerably, okay? Now, this is already a hell of a accusation, right? So I know a little bit about party politics. I was the political director and chief strategist for the Georgia Democratic Party for a number of years. And this is a huge violation. If it happened in Georgia, this would have already been a lawsuit if it took place in Georgia. It was actually Cenk that shared this information with me because I had no idea this was happening. There's more. Whoever persuaded you to eliminate 74 pledged Biden-Harris delegates, some of who were delegates for Joe Biden 4 years ago, some current party officers at both the county and the state levels, is playing a dangerous game. You never consulted or informed the state chair of your plot. This is unconscionable and unpardonable. Why were these people not told in a timely manner that they could not be Biden delegates prior to the deadline for qualifying? Question mark. At least they could have run unpledged. It is now too late. You offer to refund their qualifying fee? Another insult. We are not for sale. How many other state delegates have you summarily and arbitrarily declared to be persona non grata as Biden-Harris delegates? How does your trickery help Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? It will be interesting to know how many other states and which states you have summarily decided to interject your opinion over the vote of the people. Again, I strongly warn and beseech you not to continue this plot. It violates the Voting Rights Act, it violates the 14th and 15th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution, violates our delegate selection plan, undermines our affirmative action plan, insults and embarrasses the delegates who made themselves available to help the Biden-Harris team in good faith. We have already informed the DNC chair of our objection to these illegal acts and by copy of this letter. I am notifying chair of the Credentials Committee and the co-chairs of the Rules and Bylaws Committee of this communication to you in hopes they can talk you out of this insane and wicked plot that helps no one but hurts everyone. Since Alabama blacks have gained the majority vote of the state Democratic Executive Committee, we have experienced more trouble at the national level than ever before. Enough is enough. Finally, please hear me and read me well. You may think you want to do what you are doing, but I assure you that you do not. So please withdraw your letter to Chairman Kelly and let the Democrats of Alabama elect their delegates to the Democratic National Convention consistent with our delegation or delegate selection plan. All right, so after speaking with Mr. Lowe, after speaking with Mr. Lowe, Indisputable learned the letter from Ms. Mounts to Randy Kelly, the vice president of the Alabama Democratic Conference and a member of the State Democratic Executive Committee Board, was received roughly a week or so before December 14th, 2023. December 14th was the deadline. December 14th was the deadline in the state for the state party chairman to certify names of primary election candidates on the ballot. And when speaking with Mr. Lowe on the phone, it was his belief that Biden recognizes he is a deeply flawed candidate among voters in the South. Thus, he'd want to handpick delegates that would have loyalty toward his campaign. So I'm sure Biden on some level winks and nods in agreement. But you also have these individuals who are in fact the politicos of the group. They're the ones who are the strategists, the directors, the campaign operatives, the consultants, and they are creating this adverse atmosphere. How many times have we reported on how the authorities in Alabama, Republicans, silence the voice of black people routinely? And now we're reporting that the party that allegedly stands for diversity, respect, tolerance, inclusion, well, their party is engaged in another level of trickery inside of the Democratic primary process. It's amazing to me when black folk get controlled by going through the normative rules that are laid out. All of a sudden the rules change. All of a sudden the game transforms. Doesn't happen as long as a certain group of people are winning. But don't you see that's exactly what's happening with the Texas bill that says now candidates must prove qualifications to run for judge and is only adversely impacting black women? Don't you see that's the same thing they're doing when they pass laws that only adversely impact women who would like the right to choose? It's the same spirit behind it. That's my point. All right, yeah. Francesca, I'm pissed.
Yeah, I mean, it seems so unnecessary to do this kind of overreach from the DNC, but that's what it looks like we have here. So each state has their own process for sending delegates, and clearly some states have been willing to sort of roll over. You had the Iowa caucus who was like, everyone's just pledged to Biden. So anyway, I don't know what you're doing. And then you have New Hampshire, where Biden wasn't even on the ballot and everyone just kind of wrote his name in. So it's been a little weird for this incumbent president who is definitely dipping in the polls, and we know with who, with young voters, with voters of color. And so it does feel like a move to secure votes and delegates that seemed like they were already going for, as this person say, Joe Reed says, we're already going for Biden Harris. So why have to have your own delegates, your own people in there if you're not confident in Alabamans like sending their own people, or if you're not confident in the fact that come DNC time, if something happens, they might change their minds or change it up, right? And I think, again, it just sort of goes to show, like, this year is anything could happen. Yeah. And it seems like Biden-Harris and Joe Biden, instead of trying to make overtures to the same people that helped him win, do things like, I don't know, call for a ceasefire in Gaza, as we heard, right. Black pastors this week say they wanted and their congregations wanted. They're like, no, why don't we just send our delegates, our handpicked people, and ensure that we will be the nominee? He's gonna be the nominee anyway. It's super shady, and there's no reason to piss off Alabama Democratic leadership like this.
Yeah, and you're right. He's going to be the nominee anyway, right? So what they're trying to avoid is the adverse political and media narrative when there's a protest from certain voters. Remember, two groups are underrepresented based on the delegate rules, Black people and youth, okay? Right. So they don't want that. Here's the thing, you've earned it, Biden. You've earned it. And this is the part of politics that allows us to actually get from point A to B. Because without the rough and tumble, without the push and pull, without the friction, we never get a finished product that's worth a damn thing. We only get individuals that are surrounded by yes men and yes women, and all they do is do the same damn thing they've always done. This is the part that makes you great. This is the part that makes you see life. This is the part that gets you to your best you. All right, we'll give you an update. I'm sure they got something to say after I've said what I've said.